In this video, I'm going to show you a styling routine for naturally curly hair to help prevent wet frizz. This is going to be part 2 to the video that I did all about the common causes of wet frizz and how to fix it. I will link that video down below for you if you have not already seen it, as well as in the info cards up in the corner of this video. I recommend pausing this and checking that out first because we go over all the common causes of wet frizz. When it comes to the actual health of your hair, we talk about porosity, our hair's pH, and how to actually prevent wet frizz when you are washing your hair. But this video, I'm going to go into depth about actual styling techniques to help prevent wet frizz. It's really common though to have wet frizz, and I just wanted to preface this by saying that it is so common if you have naturally curly hair to have wet frizz and just to have frizz in general. We all deal with it. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that your hair is not healthy. However, there are some causes of wet frizz that could be from things like damage and stuff, and we go over that in that video that I mentioned that is part 1. But in this video, I'm going to show you some ways to actually tame the wet frizz as you were styling. But just know that you could do all of these tips and tricks and still have some wet frizz. I definitely do. It's almost impossible to completely get rid of it when you are styling your hair. And just because your hair is a little bit frizzy when you are styling does not mean necessarily that it's going to dry frizzy. Just don't stress yourself out over the wet frizz. But if you want to incorporate some things to help tame it and help reduce the wet frizz, then hopefully this will help. So let's go ahead and get started with the routine. So the night before my wash day routine, I always apply an oil to my hair. This is the Miche Polish Hair and Scalp Oil. I have a video all about how to pre-poo and dry detangle. If you struggle with breakage, then I definitely recommend you checking out that video because breakage is one of the biggest causes of wet frizz. So if you struggle with breakage, then you might want to incorporate the pre-poo step before you actually shampoo. Then I shampooed my hair off camera. I used the Bounce Curl Clarifying Shampoo. This is a really gentle yet deep cleanse. So if you have buildup on the scalp or on your hair, that is one of the biggest causes of wet frizz. So I definitely recommend clarifying if you have not done so already. I recommend clarifying at least once a month. I usually do it about every other week. So usually I would still be in the shower for this step, but I did want to show you guys how to use this next product on camera, but I do find that it works better to apply this in the shower when you are upright. So I'm first putting my hair repair towel over my shoulders just so I don't get this product all over my clothes. I'm going to be using the Bounce Curl Turmeric Hair Detox Mask. This detox mask has apple cider vinegar in it, aloe, and charcoal. So it's really going to give you a nice deep cleanse. It's also going to help seal your hair's cuticle, which if you saw part 1 of the Wet Frizz video, we talk about how apple cider vinegar is great at sealing the cuticle and just really softening the hair and taming wet frizz. So this is a mask. It's not an actual shampoo, so it doesn't lather up, but it's also not a deep conditioner. It's a really interesting watery consistency. It's a dark charcoal color. You do want to apply this to wet hair. It does say to shampoo first and then go in with the detox mask and then deep condition afterwards. So it's not going to replace your deep conditioner. It's more of a deep cleanse on your scalp and on your hair. So I am sectioning off my hair just to make sure that I fully coat all of the hair, and here you can see the consistency of it. And I'm just going to start by applying it to the lower section, and throughout each section I am massaging it into my scalp just to make sure those ingredients get down onto my scalp. It does have a little bit of a tingly feeling because of some of the oils that it has in it, but it's nothing too overpowering or anything. So you definitely don't have to do this step. I just find that this detox mask makes a big difference when it comes to wet frizz. The apple cider vinegar helps restore the hair's natural pH and our scalp's pH. It helps flatten the cuticle. It also reduces the amount of tangles and add a lot of shine. So if you have high porosity hair like mine, this detox mask will definitely make a big difference. It also has charcoal in it, which helps remove dandruff and also clean the scalp. It has green tea in it, which is really good for dandruff. And it also has turmeric in it, which can help reduce free radical damage and protein loss. So there's a lot of benefits in this that just a regular clarifying shampoo does not have. So this detox mask can be used 1 to 2 times a month. So you definitely don't have to use this with every single wash. So after my hair is fully coated in the treatment, I'm going to let it sit on my hair for about 12 minutes. I really like doing this in the shower because it's so much easier to rinse it out when I'm upright. I find that when I rinse out my hair upside down, I always get more tangles and more wet frizz. As you can see, this is how it looks after I rinse it out, which I definitely do still have a lot of wet frizz, but I did want to show you what my hair looks like before I go in and condition it. So you definitely don't want to skip conditioner or else you're going to have a lot of wet frizz like this. And I recommend rinsing upright instead of upside down because you can get a lot more frizz upside down. So now for deep conditioner, I'm using the Bounce Curl Ayurvedic Deep Conditioner. I hope I'm saying that right, but this is supposed to help deeply moisturize the hair and nourish the hair without weighing it down. This is also protein free, so it's not going to give you protein overload, which can oftentimes cause wet frizz. I find this to be very moisturizing, but my hair does not get weighed down. So I do still apply this up to my roots. You don't want your roots to also be dry. If you're someone that typically applies your products from your ears down, if you find that your roots get weighed down easily, but then you're also getting wet frizz, it could be because the roots are also dry. So I do comb this all the way through my hair. I've been testing out this new Be Hairful brush, so more to come on it this soon, but you will see me actually style with it here in just a little bit, but I am using it to evenly distribute my deep conditioner because like I said, you want to make sure you get that fully coated and don't miss any areas because we don't want to have any dry hair. Now you're just seeing me switch to condish, which is a really great method if you have low porosity hair and you struggle to get your hair moisturized. If you find that products just sit on the surface and don't penetrate into the hair shaft, this will just help squeeze that water and the conditioner into your hair. But I have high porosity hair and I still do this because it definitely does help the deep conditioner absorb into your hair. So now I'm just twisting my hair up into a clip and I'm putting a plastic shower cap over it just to hold in the heat from my head, and I'm gonna let this sit for 15 minutes and then go and rinse it out. I've also noticed less wet frizz when I rinse my hair with cool water instead of hot water. And now you can see the difference between my hair after it has been moisturized with the deep conditioner and before. So on the left was after I first rinsed out the Detox mask, no conditioner had been applied to my hair. And then this is after rinsing out that deep conditioner. What a difference in how moisturized my hair is now. This is why I always preach in my videos to deep condition your hair at least once a week if you are struggling with dry hair or if you're transitioning. If you have healthy hair that's not really problematic, you could probably just deep condition once a month. I wanted to show you another little trick after you rinse out your deep conditioner. Instead of wringing your hair out completely, you can actually try just scrunching it up and squeezing it a little bit. So my hair is completely dripping wet right now. And instead of wringing it out like I would normally do, I've just been kind of scrunching it up, and that's just been helping remove that excess water, letting that excess water fall out without actually causing too much frizz. And another reason I usually recommend actually rinsing your hair right side up instead of upside down is just to reduce tangles. I had no choice here because I was already ready. I was just rinsing out my hair, so I had to lean over the tub, but I always tend to get more wet frizz when I'm leaning over upside down. So for my hair type, I prefer to damp style, so I'm just taking my hair repair towel and gently blotting my roots. I don't like to go right in with stylers to soaking, dripping wet hair because then my hair will take forever to dry, and because it's high porosity, it just always tends to look better if I do damp styling. I also have low density hair, and so I tend to get a lot more volume when I damp style instead of style my hair soaking wet. So I don't usually go right in with my styling products on dripping wet hair. It just dilutes them. I end up using too much product and it just doesn't work as well on my hair type. So now for my styling cream, I'm using the Bounce Curl Avocado and Rose Clump and Define cream. This cream is so moisturizing for my hair. I actually use quite a bit of it. I've been experimenting with this cream a lot, and I find that it works better when I do use more product instead of just using a little bit. I was afraid to weigh my hair down before, so I was only using a little tiny amount, but now I've been using a lot more, and I definitely get better clumps in my hair. My hair is just a lot more moisturized, and it just works so well for my hair type. If your hair is very, very fine though, and you're worried about this weighing your hair down, then you could try just using the Bounce Curl leave-in conditioner. I do really like that leave-in conditioner, but I don't find a leave-in conditioner to be necessary when I am using such a moisturizing cream like this. I usually just skip it, but you could try the leave-in conditioner and then the gel instead of the cream and the gel, depending on how much moisture your hair needs. But this is definitely very moisturizing. I'm making sure I completely coat my hair with this product. I always recommend using a leave-in conditioner or a cream underneath your gel, because if you have dry hair and you go straight in with a gel or a mousse, a lot of times you will get flash drying and wet frizz, especially if you're in the transitioning phase. Your hair is already so dry, it's just not going to work well if you go straight in with just a gel and no moisture layer underneath. I always have a lot more frizz if I don't use any type of moisturizer underneath the gel. So I'm also combing the cream through my hair just to make sure I don't have any patchy frizzy areas that are still dry. Just make sure that it's evenly coated. And then I always go in with my hands and break up all of those curl clumps, just because I do have low density hair, so I don't want it to be too clumped together, just to pull it up off of my scalp. And then I'm doing that squish to condition method again, just to make sure that curl cream really absorbs into my hair. So you'll see I do have some water coming out of my hair when I squeeze. So even though I am damp styling, my hair does still have enough water in the links of it. I really was just blotting my scalp so my hair wouldn't take so long to dry. It's been a lot of trial and error to try and perfect the right amount of water in my hair when I style, because I like damp styling because of the volume, but then on the other hand, if your hair is too dry when you're applying your stylers, then you can get wet frizz. So it's just something you have to play around with and experiment with, having less or more water in your hair. So now it's time for the Bounce Curl Light Cream Gel. This packaging, I think, is their older packaging, so if you were to order it now, it might look slightly different. But this gel does have protein in it. It also has polymers that help block from humidity, so I do find this to be a great gel for the summertime. But this will dry out my hair if I don't use a cream underneath. So again, make sure you have that base layer of moisture first before you use a protein gel like this one. I've heard some people say that this gel does not give them enough hold, that it's a light hold gel, but I actually find it more to be a medium to strong hold, and perhaps that's because I apply it to damp hair and not soaking wet hair, because if your hair has a lot of water in it, it's just going to dilute the gel and make it have less hold. I also use a lot of product, so you will see I go in a couple different times with more gel, and that is because my high porosity hair just soaks this up. So I do have to go in with a lot of product, and I also don't dilute it too much with having a ton of water in my hair. So after my hair is fully coated with the gel, now I'm going to go in with my Be Hairful brush and create some ringlets. So I am using this brush to help give me some more curl clumps, create some ringlets, but I kind of do this the lazy way where I don't section off my hair or anything. I just kind of pick up some pieces around my face and also pick up some pieces on the top layer to help give me more definition, but I'm not really going in with a ton of detail. I'm just kind of smoothing over any frizzy pieces. It does really help to create some curl clumps to tame any wet frizz, because a lot of times wet frizz is just where your hair is not grouping together in its curl family. So if you can figure out where that frizz is coming from, pick up that curl that's right beside it and help group that frizz into a curl clump. So you can also use the Denman brush for this. I love the Denman brush. I've just been experimenting with this brush. I can definitely do a comparison video if you guys want to see that. But this brush tends to give me more of those ribbon-like curls. It has a lot more tension in it compared to the Denman brush. So if the Denman brush just did not work for you, then maybe give this one a try. I get a lot tighter curls and there's more tension, so it gives me more of that ribbon-like curl, if that makes sense. But I am kind of breaking up those curl clumps with my hands because I don't like my hair to be too clumped together, because then I won't have as much volume and it just looks like I have no hair. So this is something I talked about in the tips for low density hair video that I did, but I always use a handheld mirror just to check the back and make sure my scalp is fully covered. And then I just kind of comb through those curl clumps in the back crown area, because if it's too clumped together right there, you can see a lot of my scalp. So I just kind of break it up with my hands. Then I'm just gently squeezing out some of that excess water using my hair repair towel. You have to be careful though to not remove too much product with this. So if you want a very strong hold with your gel, then I would skip this step, but I am just gently blotting it. This is a great way to prevent frizz by just gently absorbing some of the excess water, but I'm not really squeezing my hand together. I'm just gently pressing up with my hands in a flat shape. So it's not actually squeezing and roughing up the curls too much and causing frizz. But this will help cut down on the amount of time that I am diffusing by absorbing some of that excess water first, or else I would be diffusing all day. So this is one of my main tricks for wet frizz, and this is pretty much a last resort when you still have wet frizz and you cannot seem to tame it, is to go back in with a second layer of gel on just those frizzy areas and really focus on smoothing those down. You can see how I just kind of glaze that gel over the top surface. And the key to this is the hair is only damp at the moment. I've already scrunched out the excess water, and so I'm adding another layer onto just damp hair. So it's actually going to give it a lot more hold, as opposed to just going in with another layer of gel when it's still soaking wet. Another thing you can do is just cup your hands over any curl clumps that are really looking frizzy or just looking dry in general. You can wet your hands when you're doing this and mix some gel with water in your palms just to help tame frizz on individual curl clumps. And if my ends are looking dry and frizzy, sometimes I will go in with a little bit more of that curl cream, add some water to my hands just to dilute it so I'm not applying too much product as a second layer, and just scrunch my ends. This really helps give my ends some more hydration, because when I diffuse, they really tend to dry out because they are so high porosity. So my last tip for really stubborn, wet, frizzy areas is just to pick up tiny little sections and go back over it with your brush. This is just going to help group that frizz into a curl clump, and a lot of times you might need to pick up even smaller sections. So if I were to just pick up this whole front section, I would still have wet frizz. But if you look closely and you pick up individual curls and then go over them, it will really help to separate that larger curl clump and help tame that inside wet frizz. So after I'm done applying my styling products, I usually go in and diffuse my hair. I definitely recommend diffusing over air drying if you're really trying to tame the frizz, because when you diffuse your hair, you dry it right away, and so it locks in that gel cast. Whereas if you air dry, that gel cast is exposed to the air and it has time to kind of soften up, or you might be touching your hair. I just find that I get a lot more frizz when I air dry because I'm walking around with wet hair for a long period of time, which can then lead to more frizz. So I recommend trying out diffusing if you have not already. I do have a video all about how to diffuse your hair without frizz, and I show an interesting method that I've been doing, which I like to call plop diffusing, where you plop your hair upside down on your counter as you are diffusing and hovering your diffuser so you don't get any frizz from that. So if you haven't already seen that video, I will link it for you down below as well as in the info cards. So that is it for all of my tips. Make sure you check out part 1 of this video, which covers all of the common causes of wet frizz, and you can learn more about this topic. So I will also link you to the blog post that goes with this video down below, and on there I always list out the step-by-step instructions as well as pictures and all the products that I used. So that will be linked in the description box down below, along with the links to the products. I do have a discount code for Bounce Curl. You can find that in the description box down below. It gets you 10% off your products. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to join my YouTube family. I make videos all about naturally curly hair and how to take care of your curls for beginners, and we simplify things in easy to follow steps so anyone can achieve healthy curls. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will talk to you next week. Bye everyone.